Howdy y'all and welcome back. The Staccato CS. Before we go any further, this is not intended to be a comprehensive review of this gun. I spent a little bit of time with one yesterday, about 100 rounds. I don't have it even on hand to show it to you. So if you're looking for that, I'm sure someone else has made lots of those videos. This is just my first impressions after an afternoon with one. And before we get started, let me thank all of my Patreon supporters. Without y'all, I don't get to do this. And special thanks to Joe and Michelle for bringing out the Staccato yesterday. It was a wonderful day at the range. All right, so 3.5-inch barrel, 23 ounces, aluminum frame, 15-round magazine. It's very, very cool, y'all. And what really got me excited when Joe is a client of mine, when he mentioned that he had one, is that Staccato has just announced their new HD, which is the Staccato that takes Glock mags. So it's like a platypus, but more expensive. Somebody was going to comment, right? Yes, the platypus starts at about $1,400. This starts at like $2,500. So that becomes a whole philosophical thing. But the gun itself is extremely good. When we first got to the range, you saw there in the clip the style of range, right? So you have to go hang your targets using clothespins, and they had just opened up our stall because it was super busy. So so there were some clothespins hanging out in front of us, but no targets, and we were waiting for a ceasefire to go hang our targets. So I just loaded 5 in the gun, and literally first shot out of the gun just blew off a clothespin at 7 yards. And I turned around, I was like, I should just stop right there. Like, it won't get any better. But it did, actually. I got even better with that gun. Like, it is good. Like, holy crap, it's good. So I carried a 3.5-inch Smith & Wesson Shield for years, and I was never able to eke out anything remotely great with that gun. You know, I could shoot it okay. And I am probably a better shooter now than I was when I carried that gun, but I just never found it to be insanely accurate. The Staccato, at obviously like 5 times the price, is a freaking laser. Like, it's just crazy. If you do your part, the gun is ridiculously accurate. And that's what 2011s and high-end 1911s are about, is you're going to be able to achieve a level of damn that you don't get from a $500 gun or a $700 gun or even a $1,000 gun. It's just different, and it's hard to explain. I hear people already chiming in, that's just overpriced and blah, blah, and I get that if you've never shot one. So the only time I had previously shot a Staccato was their older C model with a single stack magazine. And that was shooting steel at about 12 or 15 yards. And I really wasn't shooting for accuracy. I was trying to see how fast I could run it. And because it's a single stack, it runs out of ammo really fast. And that gun left me kind of like, why? Like, I didn't get it. It was like, yeah, the trigger's great, but I don't get this gun. This little CS, I get. Like, it's not that much heavier than something like a Glock or, a 320 or something. Definitely more sizable than your subcompacts, like your Shields and your 365s. But it's more, size-wise, it's more like in that kind of Glock 19 sort of size. A little bit shorter, but so very carryable if you're willing to carry that much gun. I mean, that's up to you, but shooting it is just wonderful. And that's what 1911, 2011s are about, is that single action trigger. Nothing else is going to come close. And once you feel that and find it, once you connect with it, it really makes shooting other stuff just not as good. So I get it. So when you talk about price, right? What makes it $2,500? Well, what makes a Rolex more expensive than a Sangin? What makes, a Les Paul more expensive than a Fender Squire or an Epiphone, right? Like we can go to like there are lots of examples of things that just cost more because of their build quality or their building process or right the materials used. I don't feel like Staccato is overpriced for what it's delivering. 1911s and 2011s get a lot more expensive than this. Like they go way up from where Staccato is coming in. So I don't feel like it's overpriced. I get that you may feel like you don't need one. I totally get that. If you feel like you don't want one, it's probably because you haven't shot one, right? If you love guns the way I love guns, and you shoot a Staccato and you're like, yeah, I don't want that. That's weird to me. It's okay to say, wow, I really want that, but I'll probably never buy one because it's just too much money. Like that's fine, right? Just don't shit on stuff because it's out of your price bracket, right? That's not cool either. This is something, like for me personally, I will have to save up for, right? I'm not just going to go impulse buy. Speaking of which, the new HDs, checked on Gunbroker this morning. So far, there were only 2 listed. Both were right at MSRP. I'm a little surprised, actually. I'm surprised people aren't gouging a little bit. And it's convenient that I will have to save for one because I want that initial batch to get out there, and if there are any bugs or problems going on, they'll get that sorted out before I can afford one. So that's not a bad idea with any new model of gun that comes out, is let other people get those growing pains out of the way, and then go ahead and get yourself one after the initial couple of batches get put out there into the world and you get some real world feedback instead of just marketing hype. But all that being said, I do fully intend on getting one by the end of the year. So stick around, stay tuned for that. Anyway, those are just some thoughts. If you're in the market and you can afford it, definitely pick one of these things up. They're awesome. And that's all I got for this one. Until next time, be easy, y'all.